Okay, guys, so here we go. Here's our objective for today. It is Tuesday. I know the exponent rules and can apply them to numbers or variables, okay? So go ahead and copy that down. So Friday we took the test, okay, the Module 1 test, we took that. Monday we did the Ames Web test, assessment, whatever you want to call it. And so today we're actually moving on to the second module, guys. It's the second one that we will cover this year. So it's kind of exciting. Maybe some of you didn't like the last one. Well, the cool thing now is that we're moving on, okay? And this one really isn't too bad. We will probably finish it in about a week and a half, so it's pretty short. And there's a couple things that we'll do, but not too many at all, okay? So we're talking about exponents. We're talking about exponent rules. Well, let's figure out what exponents and exponent rules even are, okay? So here we go. Got the objective down. Let's rock and roll. So before we get into the rules of it, we need to know what we're talking about, okay? So what is this? So I have an example up here. What are the parts and what does it mean? So I have 2 to the 4th. So there's 2 different parts to this number, if you want to call it that. Okay, we call them 2 different names. Write this with me, 2 to the 4th. So I got 2. We call that the base. Okay, we call that the base. And this is one you probably know, the exponent. Okay, so we have a base and we have an exponent. Now, what does it mean, right? What are we going to do with it? How does it tell us what we should know, right? What should we do? So what does it mean? So the base is what I'm going to multiply, and the exponent tells me how many times I'm going to multiply. Okay, so the base is what to multiply, and the exponent tells me, oops, don't do that. How many? Times to multiply, okay? So in this instance, right, we would take 2, and it's really 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. The base was 2, so then it tells me how many times to multiply it. It tells me to multiply it 4 times. So that's why we would get my answer. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 2 is 16. That would be my simplified, expanded answer. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? So let's just figure out what these are as we go. Okay? This one is probably the most missed one. 3 squared, 3 to the second power. Okay? If I asked you what that meant, what the answer was, a lot of you would probably have told me 6. People think about that all the time, okay? So don't be confused there. Remember, the base is what to multiply, so expand it out. It's really 3. How many times? 2 times, which equals 9. Okay? So 3 squared, 3 times 3. 4 to the 4th power. So that base is 4. How many times? 4 times. Write this with me, guys. So I got 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, which equals 4 times 4 is 16, is 64. Another 4 to 56. Okay, now down here, we can't really do anything with it because I don't know what C equals, but I could figure out I could expand it out. Okay, so C to the 6th power would be the same thing as C, how many times? 1, 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that's what it would look like if I expanded it out. Okay, does that kind of make sense? So far so good, let's go, let's keep rocking and rolling. All right, here we go. Now, we got 4 different rules that we're going to talk about today. Okay, 4 different rules. And we're going to spend today and tomorrow talking about them. So if you don't get it today, we'll have another day to kind of talk about it as well. Okay, product of powers. So what that means is that I'm going to have a problem that has the same base. Okay, and we're going to talk about what to do with the exponents. Okay, so a problem with the same base and then what to do with the exponents. So for example, if I have this, if I have 5 to the 2nd power times 5 to the, let's go with 5th power. Now, I could take out my calculator, I could punch it into Google, I could figure it out. But what does it really mean? This is where we're talking about rules. So 5 to the 2nd power really means 5 times 5, right? And we're going to multiply that by the second number, which is 5, and then 5 times. Let me get a different color up here so you can see a little bit better. Let's go that way. Okay, so 5 times, there's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4, and there's 5. Now, how many different 5s do I have up there? If I want to simplify this, how many do I have? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So really my answer could be wrote as 5 to the 7th power. So what does that mean? What's my simple rule for this? Well, if I multiply numbers that have the same base, okay, we're going to add the exponents. Write that for me. Okay? So if I have numbers that have like bases and they're being multiplied, that's where the product comes from, right? Because this means multiply. Product, and answer to a multiplication problem. Product of powers, we're going to add the exponents. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? Let's do a couple examples with it. So let's do another one. Let's go with, I don't know, 7 to the 6th times 7 to the 4th. Okay, so if I expand it out, remember I could figure out how many there are, but I would just want to add my exponents. Keep my bases the same because they're alike, so keep my bases the same. So 7, add my exponents, 6 plus 4 equals 7 to the 10th power. Okay? What if I do it with the variable? What if I do it with the variable? Let's go n to the 3rd times n to the 6th. Okay, so keep my bases the same, right? N, and then add them together. 3 plus 6, n to the 9th. There's my answer. Okay? So far so good? So if I have product, if they're being multiplied together, we're going to add my base. We're going to add my exponents. Okay, second rule. Okay, quotient of powers, dividing. Okay, quotient is just the answer to a division problem. Write that down for me. Okay, so let's say I had 8. 8 to the 4th over 8 squared. Okay? Same thing, I want to simplify them. So how far am I going to simplify? Let's go ahead and take a look at it. If I expand this out, like we did last time, so it really means 8 times 8 times 8 times 8 over 8 times 8. Now, if you remember back to whenever you did fractions and you did canceling out, okay? If you remember back to that, what we would do to make our life easier before we went to multiply or divide is we would cancel out what was on top and what's on bottom. So if I look at this, right, the 8 matches up with this 8 there. Get rid of it. They cancel each other out. The 8 matches up with this right here. Get rid of it. So what am I left with for my answer? 8, 2. 8 squared, 8 to the 2nd power. I got 2 of them left. So how could I get there? What would be my simple rule here? Let's go 9 to the 7th and 9 to the 3rd. If I write it out again, it'd be 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. I have 6, I have 7, I have 3. Okay, let's cancel them out. What do I have left on top? 1, 2, 3, 4. So what do you think my rule is here? When we multiplied, we added. So now that we're dividing, we are going to subtract. So if we got quotients, if we're going to divide, we got to subtract. Just like when we multiplied, we added, now we're going to subtract. Okay? So, for example, let's do a couple together. Okay? So let's go 3 to the 11th, 3 to the 4th. Okay? Just subtract those numbers. Same basis, keep it 3. Subtract the exponents. 11 minus 4 leaves me with 7. What if I do with a letter? T to the 20th over T to the 6th. Okay, let's subtract. 20, take away 6, leaves me with T to the 14th. Okay? So far, so good. 2 rules left. Okay, what if I have a 0 exponent? Now, for this example, I'm going to set up a pattern. You ready? I'm going to set up a pattern, all right? So let's start with this. Let's do 2's again. So I know 2 to the 4th is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. We started the day with it. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times, or 4 times 2 is 8, and 8 times 2 is 16. Okay? If I do it to the third power, we just went through all these. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 2 is 8. 2 to the second power. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 to the first power. That's just 2. What's happening each time? What's happening each time? Each time with my pattern, what's really happening? If I go up my scale, it's being multiplied by 2, which makes sense because I'm adding another exponent. If I go down, we're going to be dividing by 2. So if I divide anything, if I go one more, 2 to the 0 power, which is what I want here, 2 to the 0 power, if I divide 2 by 2, what does that leave me with? Leaves me with 1. Same thing with 3, okay? 3 to the 4th, 3 to the 3rd, 3 to the 2nd, 3 to the 1st, okay? 3 to the 1st, 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 27 times 3 is 81. Now instead of dividing by 2 this time, what? We're dividing by 3. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. So if I divide by 3 one more time, 3 divided by 3 equals 1. So guys, anything with a 0 exponent, the answer is 1. Pick your favorite numbers. Plug it into your calculators. Google it, whatever. 243 to the 0 power is going to be 1. All right, last rule. We're almost done, guys. Product power of a power. Okay? And I like to call these back to back. Okay? Here it is, guys. Here's what it'll look like. It'll be 4 squared to the 3rd. Okay? So what does that really mean? You want to see it the long way first? I'll show you one time. Write this with me. Show it to you one time. So 4 times squared, or 4 squared, really means 4 times 4, right? And then how many times do I do that? Well, it tells me I need to do it 3 times. So there's 1. Okay? There's 1. Here's 2. And here's 3. Okay, now how many do I have? Because, right, we're going to add them together because now we're multiplying. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if they're back to back, we multiply our exponents. Okay? Does that kind of make sense? Okay, let's try another one. Let's go 5 to the 3rd times to the, I don't know, let's go 5th. Okay? So keep my base the same. 5. Multiply my exponents. 3 times 5, 15. What if I have c to the 6th to the 6th? I don't know, 6, 6. Okay? So what would I do? It would say c, 6 times 6, 36. One more. Let's go m to the 4th and to the 11th. Okay? So just multiply there. M, 4 times 11, 44. There's our answers. Okay? All right, guys, we're going to get some more practice with that, but that is it for right now. Okay, have a good rest of the day.